Hey, Estradasphere fans, I'm James Verg, the fan that would not go away. I'm starting this Estradasphere podcast with my friend, Evil Randy Moore.
Yeah, just Evil Randy.
Evil Randy.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the early days of Estradasphere, our first encounters, our stories, and take some questions from you. So, bring it on, Randy.
Well, first, before anything, we had some technical difficulties getting together this whole presentation, so I've really pushed my rice stream mint pie here past the threshold. It's definitely too melted now. Usually you got to time these things just right, and you got to take all sorts of environmental factors into consideration, the temperature, whether or not you're walking with it in your hand, because you need to thaw it to the perfect state before you can enjoy it, right? You know, if it's too frozen, there's chewing it is just it takes too much effort, hard on the teeth. And the flavor is still locked in the ice crystals. You thaw it just right, and it's that right soft texture, just goes down the throat easy.
Soft and delicious.
Yeah, but now this is just straight up melted. However, I'm gonna see. No, these taste terrible. I don't know why we were so into these back in the day. Speaking of back in the day, we're gonna call this thing "Those Were the Days," right?
Those were the days. Yes.
Okay. Good.
Relax, people. It's mineral water. I'm Mr. Excitement over here.
Yeah. So there is a Goon commentary on that DVD, right? Passion for Life or something.
Passion for Life. There's a Goon commentary that was recorded in MC Wheel's house.
Yeah.
Were you there for that?
I was there for that, and I did my best to forget it. Because as I remember, it was, I was drunk, I think. And also, there were some pretty cringe moments throughout that whole thing. Just try not
Which
to.
will probably be brought way up here tonight.
We'll see. Let's try to keep the cringe to a minimum. All right. I've also prepared this document, and this is some explanations of the acronyms that we used in the culture surrounding the band Estradasphere. Estradasphere was really friendly to its fans and welcomed us all into kind of a tribe, and we had sort of a language thing going on. These are acronyms. And they're acronyms for terminology we used frequently. So I've got a few of the good ones here, and they might come up in our discussion. So I want to give the audience, a reference point. So the most common one was AV. Do you remember what AV means?
Awkward vibe.
Awkward vibe.
Awkward vibe.
Awkward vibe. So, an example of this would be if you're dating one of your band member's ex-girlfriends, and she comes over to a house where you're roommates, but she's not there to see her ex-boyfriend. She's there to see you now.
Okay.
AV, right? AV. Okay, yeah. And then another one is TTB.
That's just a scenario.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
Hypothetical.
true.
Never happened. Never happened.
Hypothetical.
Yeah. So another one's TTB.
No idea. I only know AV, to be honest.
All right.
I only know AV.
Okay, well then I'll educate you. Okay. So TTB was Time to Blaze.
Okay.
Which is it was commonly used here in Santa Cruz, California, where we're at right now.
Ever blazed at 3,000 feet? 3,000 feet?
You're an airline captain. Yeah.
It's so fun.
I can imagine. I don't know what blaze means, though. I mean, this is a wholesome, family-friendly...
When you smoke pot, you get really high and you fly an airplane with hundreds of people on board.
If you're on an airplane for a long time, like you're a band on tour and you're going overseas, you might end up with TTB.
What is TTB?
Well, not Time to Blaze in this instance.
Oh, right.
Tacoed Tourback.
Tacoed Tourback.
Tacoed Tourback. So if you're on the road for a long time, you're sitting on an airplane, going to wherever they went, Canada and other country.
I don't think they flew anywhere.
Well, maybe.
No.
I don't know. Maybe there was a
At the band, they just drove it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to fact check and come back to that one.
Pretty sure.
Anyway, Tacoed Tourback. So they drove, and you would have to sleep, in the back of the tour van like
this Tim's bass. He just had to have a stand-up bass and all those weird instruments. So they're all packed in there, and you're sitting next to someone. So you're like this, and then you're back after being like that for 40 days on the road, which usually started in Denver.
What tour did you go on?
Well,
Exactly.
There's the Farmers Market tour, which was a micro tour. It was a small tour.
It was up and down the coast.
It was up and down the coast.
So you never went on tour?
No, but I lived with Tim Smullins for years, and he would come back and complain of TTB.
Disregard that mime act of Randy on tour.
Well, I mean, okay. So anyway, then there's that's an AV. See,
AV.
This is AV.
AV.
Yeah. All right. And if you are AC'd, like both of us, then you're going to have AVs quite frequently. AC stands for acid casualty. Acid casualty. So if there's somebody,
Those of you that are still here, this is all Estradasphere related.
Absolutely. This is the Estradasphere
Stay here.
lingo.
It's going to go somewhere. You just wait.
Yeah, no, it is good. This is very, very important stuff. So AC is acid casualty. You're trying to drive through an intersection, and there's a homeless person there with a mile-high stash of blankets or whatever, slowly pushing the cart. I mean, and you're just sitting there and probably AC. So, there's also...
Wait, on this list we have 5 more to go.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this is all crucial information.
Okay.
There's UBM.
I'll fix this in post.
UBM.
UBM.
Unexplained bad mood.
Okay.
Yeah, and so say you're, at a show and you encounter a particular band member who is usually friendly, but on this night, not so much.
Got it.
And so you go up and you try to talk to him and you get AV'd. It's
understood, bro.
Yeah. You go up and you talk to him, you get AV'd because he's in a UBM. And he's probably in a UBM because he's an AC, And since it was TTB right before, it might have activated the AC a little bit. All right. You were expecting some MI, which stood for mystical interaction.
That was Mike the Healer.
Mike the Healer, yeah. He's the progenerator of mystical interaction.
Mike Seifert.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Mike.
Yeah, he was on It's Understood, right?
Buck Fever.
Buck Fever. Just a few more of these to go, okay? These are essential. You need to know these.
We're almost done with these.
You need to know these. So there's RB. RB was a good one. RB is what happens when there's a sudden loud noise. So if you're at an Estradasphere show and they're sound checking and all of a sudden you get a blast of feedback and the whole audience goes, that audience got RB'd. And RB stands for Ray Brown. I believe it was Ray Brown who was a audio engineer at UC Santa Cruz. He was in the music department where all the members of Estradasphere went to. And he could only hear out of one ear, I believe, because he had headphones on and they were doing some production and some dummy plugged the wrong thing in and it went and he lost hearing in one of his ears. So anytime that happened in production, you would say someone got RB'd. And then what else was there? There was TIP. Yeah, it seems like, you're having a little TIP right now. You went into this thinking that this was going to be, something that it's not. And so this is a little trouble in paradise. You're having a little trouble in paradise right now.
TIP, okay.
TIP.
Moving on.
Yeah. There's GD. Grizzly Discovery. Which you might make if you're staying at a band's house after a show. You go into the bathroom and, Mono Man had left, some used toilet paper on the floor, as he did frequently, Then you walk in, just use the bathroom, and whoa! Grizzly Discovery. GD. And then there's IF. We're getting to the bottom of this. Just a couple more.
Okay.
IF. IF stands for Instant Family, which a lot of Estradasphere fans, and even, I believe, some of the band members maybe ended up in. So they got IF'd. A lot of us got IF'd as we grew older. And then there's NE. And that's the last one, my friends. NE stands for No Effect, which why I drink this drink, Focusade. I had to up my game and go to energy drinks because coffee has no effect on me anymore.
So,
There you
how
go.
did Estradasphere first come onto your radar?
Estradasphere first came onto my radar through the Web of Mimicry website. I was living in Texas at the time, and Trace Bruance launched the record label website. You know, the guitar player from Mr. Bungle and the Secret Chiefs 3. And there was an MP3 like sound sample from It's Understood. And I clicked on it, and I heard the first 5 seconds of Hunger Strike. And that created this intuition, this impulse to leave my girlfriend, move out of the state.
God damn, where were you at the time?
Texas, Austin, Texas. I was on the run from a scandal.
That explains the shirt.
Yeah, no, the shirt, this I actually got from the saxophone player at Farmer's Market on tour. The tour I was on in the back.
So, 5 seconds of Hunger Strike, Nick.
5 seconds of Hunger Strike.
Leave your girlfriend, move out of state.
Yeah, they came through on tour with the Secret Chiefs 3 to Austin. I had heard the music, and I knew I had some MI. You know, I had a mystical interaction with that MP3, and I knew, and I left. I left her. I left the state. I had my car all packed up. I went up to Estradasphere at the show, and I said, "I'm your manager now." And they were sort of like, "Okay," you know. I'm like, "No, seriously." And they're like, "All right, see ya." You know, we live in Santa Cruz. Our next show is at the Martini Lounge in Hollywood. So I drove out to Hollywood. And I saw them at the Martini Lounge. And they're like, "Weren't you just in Austin, Texas?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm your manager now." I moved.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was a completely different story. Like you met them through the Lotusphere connection.
No. No, I did not. But I had music management experience from managing a band that my high school friends were in called Lotusphere. I became that manager because I was inspired by a band called Lefty's Head, which Kevin Metz was in. That bastard. Kevin Metz is AR'd, by the way. You know, he's so AC'd that he's AR'd.
Wow.
Yeah, he lives in an alternate reality.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. So I saw that band, and I was like, I want to book shows for bands. So I started working with my friend's band, and that's how I became a manager. And then when Estradasphere came through in Texas, I wanted to manage them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I went to Hollywood, and then they invited me up to Santa Cruz. I'd never been to Santa Cruz. Got in a car with Adam Stacy, who played keyboards for Lotusphere, who was later in Estradasphere. And then Kevin Metz joined the band also and played Shamisen. You know, these guys that I knew from high school.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. What about you? I understand you were there at the very, very, very beginning.
Yes. I was walking downtown Santa Cruz on Pacific Avenue mid-October 1998, and I run into Tim, John, Dave, and Jason Concepcion on the corner of Cooper and Pacific playing jazz standards. And I grew up in Santa Cruz, so I'm used to people playing music downtown. We always have buskers all the time. We have people playing music all the time. But this is the first time that I actually heard some music that made me stop and want to sit down and listen to these people. And it was,
Right.
I knew that something was there. And I said, "Hey, do you guys play shows? Because I'm having a Halloween party on the 31st, obviously." And they said, "Yeah, dude, whatever." So I wrote my phone number down on the back of a 9-volt battery container. And I gave that to Dave. And it was Dave Murray, John Hooley, Tim Smullins. I think Schimmel was there, but I'm pretty sure it was Jason Concepcion. And they played my house Halloween party in October 1998. And from then...
98?
98.
98.
98.
Yeah. Predates my even
'Cause
awareness of the band.
I remember Tim telling me a story of his trip to Burning Man in '98. Like, it was October, and he was saying, "Yeah, I just went in August." And he was telling me all about it. So my first time was going with them in '99, and I went to a lot of their shows around town. Did a lot of marathon trips down to LA to see them play at the Knitting Factory.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. Knitting Factory. And
The Knitting Factory's closed?
it's been closed for years.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I think close to a decade now. I think.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is.
One of the best Estradasphere shows happened at the Knitting Factory in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Knitting Factory, dude.
Yeah.
Pour one out for your homies at the Knitting Factory, for sure.
Yeah. There was a lot of Estradasphere shows at the Knitting Factory.
I got to see them play the Troubadour, which was kind of like a high for me because I'd never been to the Troubadour, but I've always heard about the Troubadour.
Right.
And then going down with the local town band to play at the Troubadour, to me was like, this is awesome.
That was Spicy Dan's.
Talk about Spicy Dance.
Just a little product insertion here. This is Spicy Dan's from Charlie Hong Kong. Oh, yeah, thanks. Abbreviated as CHK. So I got the Spicy Dan's with garlic tofu from CHK. And that was the first meal I ever had with Estradasphere when I came to hang out with them in Santa Cruz. They went to this place all the time, Charlie Hong Kong. Seabright and Soquel, right around the corner from MC Wheels. And, one of the best meals I've
Still there, apparently.
Right.
Let me try that.
Again, that also tastes like crap, and I don't know why we were showing it. But yeah, the Troubadour show, I booked that show, and I booked the Knitting Factory show, and the idea at the time was to try to get them to branch out, but the fact that I booked the Troubadour show created some AV with the booking agent at the Knitting Factory, because she was like, I thought we dealt with the Estradasphere, and I was like, well, we want to get more exposure in different venues and explore our options. And her response was like, well, if you want to sleep with someone else, go ahead, Estradasphere. Yeah, and I was like, that AV, we had some TIP. There's a little trouble in paradise there. But it turned out, they went back to the Estradasphere Knitting Factory relationship. Really
going back to Knitting Factory.
Mm-hmm.
Meat Hole.
I would not say that on a family.
Yeah, I would, totally. Meat Hole. The story of Meat Hole. I was doing merch for Estradasphere to show up in Knitting Factory with 404 Carl.
404 Carl.
404 Carl.
Named because the FTP site always was at a 404 error, right?
Right.
Yeah.
For the most part. And recently still was, apparently.
Oh, yeah. He tried to get it back up, and then it forked again, didn't it?
It was perfect.
It forked.
It was perfect. You can't win.
Yeah.
So we were doing merch, and all through the show, this chick was just like getting drunker and drunker and drunker. And by the end of the show, she came out to the merch booth. She was drunk, blah, blah, blah. She comes to me asking me if I want to go back to her place. And I went, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, whatever. So I tell Timba, dude, give me your phone number. I need somebody's phone number because I got to meet you tomorrow. This chick is DTF. I'm out of here.
DTF.
DTF. So I give Timba my phone number. I go to her place. Dude. It was amazing. Just amazing. Whatever. So, the next day, you guys know the video of the Zelda 2 or the Zelda medley Estradasphere plays in the room that was at a radio station in San Diego that was played after a Knitting Factory show. So that morning, Timba picks me up from this chick's place, and we drive down to San Diego to meet the other guys in the band. And Timba goes in the room, and they start playing whatever. And I stole this chick's underwear, so I take it out of my pocket and hold it up to the window of the door like this.
I'm surprised you don't have the underwear right now.
I don't. I'm sorry.
It must have
Everyone starts laughing. It was great. And that was my groupie sex experience. I never went into it for the sex, but man, I totally got some awesome sex from that band. So, thank you, Tim. Everybody get me laid. Took it in the butt like a champ. I mean, what can I? There's like, perfect. Anyway, what do you got, Randall?
CSB.
What's CSP?
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro.
Okay.
Oh, AV though. Awesome. Congratulations. I guess we give each other high fives.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what people do, right? So, that's fantastic. I remember at that show, I prepared curry on stage. I actually made some curry. I was so proud and honored to be on stage with those fantastic musicians. And again, they were very, very, very kind to all of us. You know, they were very kind to all their friends, and they encouraged their friends and fans to have involvement. And that's how you ended up with the circus, you know. And you had Mono Man, who is one of the. There's a situation. GD.
Okay there, bud? Sorry, my cat is going
Yeah. Yeah, there was an Estradasphere cat named Meower who would leave us little GDs at the doorstep.
There's Butt, Bud, and Smile.
There was Butt Bud, and then there was Smile. Butt Bud. Butt Bud. And then there was Meower, and Meower would leave us at the doorstep. Tim and I lived in a cabin together in the woods in SoCal. You can use your imagination. And the cat would leave the mouse head on the doorstep, bring the disemboweled mice. And so every morning we'd open the door and there'd be a grisly discovery from the cat. Got one going on over here right now. That's murdering something over there.
So much for getting the cat.
All right, situation diffused.
Situation diffused.
Yeah, so I was talking about how friendly the band was and how inclusive they were with their fan base, which was really one of the things that I found made them unique among the live bands that I saw. They were engaging and accessible. And, you know, there had sort of been like a celebrity culture before that where I would just, you know, be in awe of the musicians I saw. They really brought themselves humbly down to their audience. And you had people like George the Reader up on stage with them, Mono Man up on stage with them. You had the death metal cheerleaders. There was, of course, you know, the Taper.
The Taper.
Steve the Taper.
Let me talk about Steve for a second. If it wasn't for Steven Rising the Taper, there probably wouldn't be any archive of Estradasphere at all. So that guy gets huge kudos for preserving the magic that was Estradasphere.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And we miss you, Steve. Come home.
He's a doctor now, psychology.
Yeah, I mean, he was there, and there were other circus members, and forgive me if I have forgotten you. It's been a long time, and I'm a little AC'd, you know?
Yeah.
It's been 20 years.
Total AC.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, perhaps this is an appropriate moment to consult the Facebook page, Fans of Estradasphere.
We asked for questions.
Yeah, we gave no notice, you know, so we've only got a couple. But Tim, you know, asked me, we're sort of on this topic right now, so figured I'll answer this one. It says, Randino, how did you become the temporary manager / booking agent, and what led you to leaving that role? So I did give some of the background for that. You know, I just had some mystical epiphany in Texas upon hearing the first few notes of Estradasphere, and I packed up my life and followed the band back to California and moved up to Santa Cruz, and they allowed me to begin calling myself their manager. And I began booking them shows and attempting to do some merch and band conflict resolution stuff. And that all led to booking the Farmers Market Tour, which is, I would consider, this frozen now. Is it still recording?
Yes.
I hope. Again, technical, this is AV. I hope when it comes back on, we don't get RB. That feedback from the outtake, that was an RB moment for the record. All right. Well, we're back.
Still going.
Still going.
Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, so where was I? I was talking about the manager role. And I just want to admit, this is one of the revelations I had as I got older here, that I was never really their manager. And this is a little deep, but I feel like Estradasphere allowed me to call themselves, or allowed me to call myself their manager. What I was really doing was promoting them as pretty much a glorified fanboy, I think, in hindsight. And they were kind enough to let me, have that experience as a young man. And I'm grateful for that. But I soon, learned that I was never, honestly, like a full professional manager for them. And I just want to acknowledge that. So one day, actually, to the second answer, the answer to the second half of the quiz, this cat is out of control. Deal with that. We love cats, don't we? All of us. Cats are the best. Cats are the best.
This is Bobby.
Hmm.
Bobby, say hi. How everybody is going? Bobby, I'm an asshole.
Bobby hates me. Watch. Well, yeah, now he's being sweet for the camera. When these cameras are off, he's chasing me around the house. Yeah, see, I'm not going to provoke him. I'm going to let him have his piece.
What are you going to say, Bobby?
Yeah, very talkative. That cat is a bastard. So yeah, one day I went on to the Estradasphere website, and I was just looking at the contact information, and it said management, Poco Marshall. Unbeknownst to me, that was a GD. I had a grisly discovery.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, when I went on to the website, and I called him up, and I'm like, "Hey, Poco's your manager?" And he's like, "Yeah, didn't know how to break it to you." And so at that time, the band had started to move in a different direction. I think there was this era where they were trying to break into the jam band scene, and Poco Marshall had some connections with some very prominent jam band based touring artists, So at that point, just sort of parted ways, and the rest is history. I moved on.
I embraced all of that. I embraced the schizophrenic music, and I embraced the jazz band, because individually they're virtuosos on their instruments. Tim, it's like when you watch a band, you hear music, it's great, but when you see a Stratosphere, it's like every single of the members is a master of their instruments, which you usually don't see. So when it comes to the jam band and they're jamming and there's time to solo, I love that, just to see what they came up with, and it was always beautiful, always amazing. And what was the question?
Well, we were talking about the movement of the band, their
Right.
direction into a more jam-based focus during.
I like whatever they did.
Yeah.
Like the European stuff, the Eastern stuff, the jam stuff, the metal stuff. It's like everything just hit.
I think it was their penchant for improvisation that kind of got them labeled as a jam band for a while there, and I never understood that. For me, the band was a completely cerebral experience. It was intellectual music. It was something that happened in here, and in here, not like out here, So, yeah, I guess that maybe I wasn't the best to be promoting them as they moved in that direction, and they didn't really know how to break it to me, so that's when my role with the band ended. And I'm okay with it, afterwards. It was sad at the moment. And actually, during that whole time, we got to see the band Farmers Market and Estradasphere tour together. And that was, for many, sort of the peak of Estradasphere. The cat, again. So, yeah, there was a fan, part of the circus, I believe. She was a Nikki?
Right.
Nicole Feeder. And I forget what part of the circus she was. There was kind of a dance. She had a specific role, and I'm forgetting it.
I know she did fire dancing, but I don't think she did fire
There were the
dancing
fire dancers,
during the
too, the
Palookaville
fire
days.
dancers,
I don't
yeah.
think she did fire dancing then. She was around.
Palookaville was an Estradasphere. It was a venue here in Santa Cruz, and Estradasphere had a show there. That's where they had the Silent Elk of yesterday release party. Was
Right.
at Palookaville, and for me, that's two of the best Estradasphere
And
shows
the
ever.
Misunderstood release party was also at Palookaville.
Yeah, even the Buck Fever one, maybe, or had Palookaville shut down by then?
I don't recall.
Again, yeah, memory's a little hazy.
Little
We live
hazy.
in Santa Cruz.
21 years ago.
21 years ago, yeah. So anyway, one of the best shows that I ever saw was Estradasphere at Palookaville for the Silent Elk of Yesterday release party. And the other one was, I believe, the final show of the Farmers Market Tour at the Knitting Factory
Right.
in Los Angeles. And Farmers Market was introduced to me by Nicole Feeder. Listened to them, got in touch with them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She's the one who.
She introduced me.
Wow.
So a lot of people credit
I didn't know that.
credit Evil Randy with the Farmers Market thing, but I always give credit to Nicole Feeder.
Interesting.
If it weren't for
Good job, Nikki.
Nikki
Good job.
Aurora is her screen name, I think her moniker. You know, I do this a lot, don't I? I need to stop. I need to stop. So yeah, Nicole Feeder sent it to me in an email, a Farmers Market sound clip. I listened to it. I played it for the band. They wanted to tour with them. I contacted Farmers Market, arranged several shows up and down the California coast with members of Sleepytime Gorilla Museum. I think there was a show with Carla Kilstead. A lot of different bands. You know, a lot of bands that were popular at the time. And that Eastern European folk music thing was going on. There was a band called the Toids, People's Bazaar. They toured with Farmers Market and Estradasphere. And so that was a fantastic era. And that's actually how I got this shirt.
Well, let's talk about Burning Man.
Let's talk about Burning Man.
I was at Burning Man with you 2 years in a row,
All right.
2000 and 2001, which was my third and fourth time going. First time was '99 with Estradasphere when they played the Illumination stage. I took the photo.
Mm-hmm.
It's Understood CD. If you open it, it's the stage at Burning Man. I took that photo.
I did not know that.
That's right. And I went back in 2000 and saw the most amazing Estradasphere show ever. Randall was there. He was at the Burning Anus stage.
The Burning Anus stage.
Of course, the Burning Anus stage.
I remember most of that show.
That's right. Some of the band members may not have been sober, but they were definitely in the groove. It was 2.5 hours of their best stuff. And at that time, they were playing together. They were tight together. They knew each other's chords. You know, the looks. Everybody knew the looks. They were tight because they were playing constantly up to that point. So that show, after the man burned, I think it's September something, 2020, August, yeah, September. Anyway, regardless, it was amazing. Randall was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell us what you remember about that.
Oh, yeah, this is Annie's cashew sesame pimento spread.
What are you eating with it?
Some crackers and some cashew spread.
some crackers?
Would you like some? Would you like some Spicy Dan from Charlie Hong Kong?
No, but I'll take some keto crackers.
There you go, keto crackers.
Keto crackers.
Trying to avoid sugar here in my old age. I don't want to get diabetes. Yeah, so I was blacked out drunk for a good portion of the show at Burning Man, the Burning Anus show, and playing with fireworks. And I put some, those, I don't know what you call them, candles, Roman candles, or something like that? A fountain next to a very large propane tank that was very close to Dave Murray. So we're all very lucky he's still with us. At one point, if you watch the video of the show, you can see him looking worriedly over at a light off to the stage. And those
Burning Man 2000, Burning Anus show,
Mhm.
Hunger Strike.
Yeah. I was it during Hunger Strike?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, again, I don't remember.
There was an art project someone wrote in that was like this pipe organ. When you played the keys, flames through it. So Randall lit a fountain right next to this guy's propane tank on his art project.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't explode, thank God.
Yeah. I think someone came up to me as I was thrashing about in the crowd. and said, "Dude, you better move those." So I went and did, and everything turned out okay. Yeah.
But that was one of the most amazing shows. I know I
It
talked
really
about it a
was.
lot,
It really was.
but
Very high energy.
I was sitting on top of Jason's car with Steve as he was working the video camera. The single digital 8 video camera and his DAT. So I don't know if you have both the DAT recording all MP3s or whatever of the audio and the video. You'll notice at some points, like we changed the tape or we changed the videotape. There's a little cutoff for a few seconds. I was up there with Steve watching the show.
Nice. Steve the Taper.
Steve the Taper.
Tape the show.
I too may not have been sober.
Yeah. I'm sober now. So let's talk a little bit about the downtown experience
Okay.
here in Santa Cruz, because I really feel like Estradasphere for a moment was a quintessential Santa Cruz experience. And there was a time when the streets weren't completely saturated with meth addicts, when you could go downtown with your children and have a nice walk. And there were several, iconic figures downtown all the time. There was, of course, the Balloon Man, who would show up to Estradasphere shows and make balloons. He was a circus member, wasn't
Mr. Twister.
he? Mr. Twister. All right, yeah, see? The circus runs deep, man. It runs deep. And then there was Morgani, the great Morgani.
He's still around. He
It
still plays
is-
downtown.
No one has stabbed him yet?
Nope.
That's fantastic. Wow. Well, so then there was also the Pink Man.
He's still around.
Is he?
He walks around the wharf now instead of downtown.
Oh, okay. This man dressed entirely in pink with a pink umbrella that would take one tiny step like every 5 minutes. And he was downtown every day. And so on,
He's still around.
any given day you could go
Robert.
downtown.
His name is Robert.
Robert, yeah, he's actually a nuclear physicist.
Yep.
Have you ever talked to him?
No.
He believes the entire universe is a computer-generated hologram. It's amazing.
Who's to say he's wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. He's absolutely certain we are all the dreams an alien computer is having.
Agree with some boring shit.
Yeah. So if you go down to Santa Cruz in 2001, downtown, and you are out for a walk, you might have found Estradasphere. Yeah. And they would just play acoustic shows downtown all the time, and people loved them. So they were a quintessential Santa Cruz downtown experience back in the day.
They were.
Mm-hmm.
They were. It was great. Sorry, I'm just really loving these Kato chips and this.
Yeah, the
Cashew dip?
Annie's cashew spread. These are all foods that we used to eat at 911 Mission Street. You remember 911
Really?
Mission Street? Yeah, never forget.
I never forget.
We'll never forget.
That's okay.
Yeah, so 911 Mission Street was where where Estradasphere lived, where I came up to see them, right? And they used to have parties there before and after the shows.
Right.
Yeah, and they lived there with Mono Man, who I believe at one point set the house on fire.
I have a story I want to tell about Mono Man.
Yeah.
Those who don't know, Mono Man was a guy who went to shows, usually dressed up in a red cape with a red M on his chest. So, one day Estradasphere was playing a show at the Catalyst downtown Santa Cruz. I went down in my Darth Vader costume that I made, or had made, the Halloween before. And since it was a circus and I didn't have any clown stuff, I wanted to do something, so I dressed up as Darth Vader. So I went down to the Catalyst. It was me, the band, and Mono Man. One song the band starts playing the Imperial March, so I go on the stage, dun, 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 dun. Whatever, it's Darth Vader, yay! So I go back up in the dressing room. So I'm in the dressing room, and I think the next thing, Mono Man comes on, does his little shtick. I don't see it because I'm in the dressing room. But apparently he smashed a microphone onto the ground, and then he took off and ran back towards his house. So I'm in the dressing room with I think John or whatever, and the security guard kicks open the door to the dressing room and says, "Where's that fucker with the cape?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm standing there in the middle of the room with a cape. And I'm trying to tell this guy, no, sir. It was the other guy with the cape. It was the other guy with the cape. And apparently Joey was running back to 911
Right.
after that happened.
Yeah.
That's how I almost got murdered at the Catalyst. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah. So this actually brings us to another question here posted on the Facebook Fans of the Stratosphere.
Go for it.
From Damian Justin Kondalich. And it's not so much a question. It just says Mono Man ? So,
I personally don't know much about Mono Man Joey.
yeah. I don't think any of us do. He was a mysterious and enigmatic figure. But he was there at the Martini Lounge after I followed the band from Austin to Hollywood. One of the first people that I met from the circle. And he had saran wrap all over his face. He had taken an umbrella and put saran wrap all over his face.
Oh, that's an instance. Understood the footage from that.
Is it? Yeah. And then he poked a hole in it and was drinking a beer. And he would always heckle the band. You know, Tim would be in the middle of some epic bass solo, and there would be Mono Man, you know, like in the crowd with saran wrap all over his face going, "Parlor tricks! Smoke and mirrors!" Always heckled the band. And then I believe he got banned from more, the pun, from more than one venue because he would stage dive, but no one was there to catch him. So he would stage dive and injure himself, and the venues were concerned that it was a liability lawsuit.
So was it ever proven that Mono Man actually had mono?
I don't know. There's a story. Maybe one of the band members listening to this would like to address in the comment section below the post that I'm sure will follow this. Yeah. Mono Man, he was an artist.
He was.
Yeah, he painted. He went to UCSC. He was a roommate with Estradasphere at 911 Mission Street, where a lot of good memories come from that house.
Yes, sir.
All right.
These are good chips.
Yeah, they're good. You know?
They're really good.
Yeah.
So, that's podcast number 1. My idea is to hopefully get other band members like Tim or Dave, maybe Timbo. Doubt Jason will do it. Maybe John.
Who knows, man?
Good.
Yeah. If you can take a break from the Kucinich tour.
The Crusaders stuff. That was years ago, bro.
Oh. I don't know.
Put a piece of tofu.
Tofu. Look at that.
Yeah.
You want to put some Annie's on there, too? Get a little
Oh, sweet.
sandwich or something. Some Spicy Dan's from CHK. Little Annie's. There you go. That's the best of all worlds right there. Well, thank you for this idea, James. This was fun.
Those that have stuck around this long, why?
Yeah,
I'm glad you did.
they're AC'd.
If you have any Stratosphere stories, tell us. Love to hear them. Thanks for sticking around. I guess if you want to see more, smash that like button. Hit that notification bell. Hit subscribe. Yeah, all that shit. Anyway, I gotta drink a whole bunch of alcohol and fly to New York. So, later, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.